that is a belief that you've chosen to believe and it's completely fucking you up.
One of my favorite quotes, I think if there were to be a quote that would be on my tombstone, it's top 3, which I love a lot of quotes. It's Orson Scott Card. He said, we question all of our beliefs except for those that we truly believe and those we never think to question.
Yes.
And so it's because you truly believe it. And those are the pesky ones. Those are the ones, I think I was told, because you get asked a lot, I'm sure, like, hey, I'm going to talk to a mentor. What question should I ask them? And I got this really good one, which is, what do I believe to be true that isn't?
Whoa.
And so
it's a great question.
Right. And because I'm sure you see it. And if I talk to somebody, I can tell, like, they cast these views of what is and what isn't about business, about marriage, about health, whatever it is. And they say, like, and then they operate off of that framework of assumptions, which might be patently false. And then they wonder why what they're doing is not working. It's like, because the entire foundation upon which you built this thing is just wrong. Right. And so, the easiest way to do that is to get people who are ahead of you who tell you, by the way, I don't think that belief is true, but you have to get in a place that somebody can actually communicate that to you and be open to it.
Yeah.
Which is
and
tough.
Then you have to do something about it, which most people don't. Yeah. Otherwise, you get one piece of advice, and then people are like, oh God, you're not going to do anything with this?
Yeah.
Like that's the hard part. So
yeah.
I have this saying, Impact Theory University, where I always thought all I would ever teach is business. And I found that to get people primed to do the business part, I first had to deal with all the lies that they were telling, the beliefs, like the self-destructive behavior, all that. Once you could get past that, then they had an actual shot at running the business. But because success is the ability to go from failure to failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm, and the ability to do that is predicated on the story you're telling yourself about yourself, your beliefs. It was all like this fucking mindset, like rat's nest of like, God, if I can help you like peel this stuff back, you'll be able to get out of your own way. But most people can't. But it's really interesting. When you were saying that, I was like, part of what makes, like when you hear somebody speak and they really resonate with you, they give you the chills, you get excited. It's because they're either putting words to something that you felt but you didn't know how to articulate, and now it's super concrete in your mind, or they make you realize that you believe something that wasn't true. Yeah. And that's when it's like, you feel like you're being set free.
Oh, totally.
And that's really exciting.
It's like a weight vanishes. That's what I think sales is that people have these beliefs, and you have to know, like, the process of being a good salesperson is being able to help people break the beliefs that they have about themselves or about the realities that are not true. And so I think if you can basically just unencumber somebody, then it becomes very easy to sell someone. Because if you have this struggle, we have this solution, do you believe that buying this solution will get you more likely to get to the outcome you want? Yes. What are we doing? Let's go. You know what I mean? But talking to that person, you have to wade through all this stuff. But like, I believe that, like, by speaking that, it's like, I believe that you could start a call and just be like, you want to do it? And then just start from there, right? Like, depending on what someone's consumed beforehand. But I'll tell you, one of the things that's shaped my life in terms of business stuff is understanding the concepts of leverage, right? And so a lot of people are limited by either the skills, the beliefs, or the traits they have, right? And so the skill deficiency is the easiest one to fix. It's like, go do repetitions in a community of people who are also doing repetitions to learn the same skill, and you will learn it quickly, right? That's the thing. Then you have traits and beliefs, which is a little bit more amorphous, right? And so from a beliefs perspective, you need someone to tell you stories that you believe to be true that conflict with your view of reality. And then the evidence of their story being truer than yours, then it's like a frame control. That frame now wins, and that becomes the new lens that you see everything through. And so I had a friend who had a fitness app, and he was doing $20,000 a month. He was a CrossFit competitor, really high up. He didn't win, of course, he didn't win, so he didn't want to tell anybody he had any app because he didn't think he deserved it. He didn't deserve to have an app because he didn't want anyone to know, because he's like, how dare I make a fitness app? Because I was only 4th in the world, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Is that it?
And then all of a sudden, he talked to somebody, he got over it, and then he just started just telling people he had an app, and he went from like $20,000 a month to $100,000 a month. And so it's not that his skills changed, it's not that his traits changed. He was still just as hardworking, looked the same, etc. I was like, it's just his beliefs, right? And I'm sure in the entrepreneur space, one of the most common traits is focus, right? People can't do the same thing over and over again. They just do all these half-built bridges. And so I know for me, my big explosion happened in my entrepreneurial journey when I went from having 9 businesses. It is not a misspeak, 9, as in 1 less than 10. At the same time that I was CEO of All Of, so I had a dental agency, marketing agency, I had a chiropractor marketing agency, I had Gym Launch where we'd fly out and do gym turnarounds, and then I had 5 gyms of my own.
Jesus.
At the same time. And I was somehow perplexed as to why I wasn't making any money. There's like, everything was always on fire all the time, and I always just sold my ass off enough to be able to pay all the bills and have nothing left over. That was how I rocked it. And it was only, when Layla came in and she was like, I think maybe if we just did one thing, you could win. Because she was like, imagine if all you had to do is make one of these businesses work. How easy would that be? I was like, oh my God, if I'm gonna make one of them work, it'd be a joke. And like, I heard myself say that and I was like, you're an idiot. Why are you so dumb? And so like the trait that I was missing at that point was focus and or discipline. I couldn't say no. I didn't have that muscle. So that was a trait I lacked. And so it's like, boom, and then that blew up. And so it's like, sometimes the question is, which of these things do people lack? And so since we don't always know because we don't have the perspective to judge ourselves often, it's like you just got to keep